proven to be very beneficial already. The second opportunity is through the Common Sense Initiative. So those rules go out to the Common Sense Initiative. They do extensive review and collect public comment themselves, as well as we continue to collect public comment, usually again for another 2 weeks. And then the third opportunity is when a rule set gets filed with JCAR, we have to have a public hearing, and so that is the third opportunity. And then there is also a meeting of the Joint Committee on Agency Rule, or JCAR, and that is the very last stop before they can be filed and made effective. So that's just a quick reminder about the process. So here's kind of the lay of the land as to where all of our rule sets stand right now. And I think you were all notified via email. We did file with the Joint Committee on Agency Rule Review the cultivator rule set. That was done on Friday. They finally got posted. We had a long weekend and then some hiccups with the Legislative Service Commission in getting those posted, but they are live on the Register of Ohio right now. The public hearing is scheduled for March 20th in the afternoon out at the State Fire Marshal's office. So we look forward to getting additional feedback on the cultivator rules. There were a few modifications made in those rules pursuant to the public comment that we had received through the CSI process. So I think you will find that we were, again, listening to folks in that process. If you have any questions on that filing, Justin is more than happy to answer them and hear any questions or concerns. The processor rules, that public comment period closed February 10th. We are continuing to review and revise, make revisions, and we're headed toward a CSI filing there probably in the next month or so. Testing labs, those were presented today for public comment. We will be taking those until March 10th. Dispensaries, that's the pharmacy board. That public comment period closed January 13th. Again, those comments are being reviewed and revisions are being made. In the case of the dispensaries, there's kind of an extra stop for both the pharmacy boards and the medical boards rules because they need to take them to their respective boards. An initial presentation has been done to the pharmacy board on the dispensary rules. There will be another one, I believe, at their March meeting prior to them giving the thumbs up to send them to CSI. So that'll be the next step there. The patient and caregiver rules, again, that public comment period closed February 10th. We're reviewing those and seeing if any revisions need made there. The form and method rules, you heard about those today, and so we will be taking public comment on those until March 10th. And then lastly, the medical board rules, that public comment period closed January 13th. We are actively reviewing those. The medical board talked to their policy committee last month. They will be doing that again and taking them to their board, hopefully for approval to send to CSI in March. So we have plenty of public opportunities for input ahead of us, but we wanted to kind of lay out where things stood right now. Any questions about any of that?
So the rules themselves are adopted by the agency that has been in charge of formulating them, correct? So after they come out of JCAR, then they're officially adopted by some process by that particular agency?
Sure. How they are finalized, the Joint Committee on Agency Rule Review, it does just that. They don't take an affirmative vote to approve the rules, they review them. They can start a process to prohibit an agency from filing them and making them effective, but generally they prefer a more negotiation process in order to get something through. So once something is reviewed by the legislative, it's a legislative body, I'm not sure I said that. Once something is reviewed by that and their period for review and public input expires, the agency can then final file them. I believe it's with the Secretary of State's and the Legislative Service Commission, and then they set an effective date for the rules. And so that is what we are really driving toward is for the cultivator rules, our effective date requirement is May 6th. That's coming soon. We are on task though to get that done.
questions for Missy?
I don't have a question, but a comment. Every time I come, I hear more and more about the complexity of this. And my biggest concern is that all the costs are going to fall on the backs of the patients that need it, because they're going to roll downhill. You know, we charge the cultivators this, and the dispensaries get charged by the labs, and all, you know, this is the house that Jack built, but it's going to stop somewhere. And is it going to be so prohibitive that it won't be a legal market anyway, because it just won't?
Sure.
You know, it won't be affordable to the people that want it or need it. And I don't know if anybody's looking at that big picture that way. And you look at all the fees and all the costs and all the everything about the big system, where does it end up at?
Thank you.
I don't know where to put that comment or question, but it's in my mind, and it becomes ever so prominent each time I'm here.
No, thank you for your question, and I do want to reassure you that we talk about it and are aware of it regularly. It is a challenge. I think every state has seen the challenge. And the next thing on my agenda to talk to you about, actually, what you preempted me, but that's fine. I wanted to acknowledge that there was a request, I think, from the committee, especially from you, Ms. Vasca, that I think everybody is interested in hearing from us kind of our program costs. And our intention had been to do that today, but due to trying to put together the state budget, we will be prepared to do that at the next meeting. And I think it'll help you understand why our fees are where they are. We do want to be transparent about that. We do have some significant startup costs that are worth talking about. And it's important, we're weighing the general taxpayer versus the patient, and you know, we're not interested in setting up a program that is unworkable. So I do want to reassure you that that is part of our thought process regularly, and we're trying very hard to work cross-agency to keep that higher level view on everything we do, including that piece. So you will be hearing from us, long story short, a budget conversation at the next meeting, amongst some other updates on the rule sets as they stand.
Packaging and the single-day doses and those type of things. I think it would be very reassuring for the patients to know that either there's been some sort of modeling or projections in terms of what kind of cost influx this has into what is a regulated industry that doesn't really have experience with what we're trying to do here in Ohio. And I applaud what we're trying to do here in Ohio, but I also know that I don't want this to backfire on us either. I would like this to have been something that the rest of the industry takes a hold of. And I think without us knowing where this shows up, as Nancy has indicated, and how that it's going to affect the price to patient, I think it gives a lot of trepidation for patients and the industry alike.
Sure, and just to acknowledge your point, we can definitely take a look at that and see what we can come up with. We can, and I guess I would like to say I appreciate your pointing that particular issue out. If there are other similar concerns that you would like us to take a closer look at, you know that we're always open to trying to do that. So,
you know, we've had a lot of discussion of how we've learned a lot from other states. We've modeled a lot of our rules on other states and their experiences. Would you predict that when a patient walks into a dispensary here in Ohio and they look at the price that they're going to pay for their unit of, you know, relief, are they going to say, wow, this is comparable to what I would pay in Arizona or Colorado? Or are we going to model it that far? Are we going to be competitive?
Dr. Wink, that's a very good question. To say that we have modeled it that far as we sit here today, no. I think we find ourselves continually challenged by the economics of this program is a great big economics exercise in a lot of ways, and I find myself wishing I had paid better attention in class when I was in college. But that said, you know, I've heard a lot of people liken it to you know, trying to throw, with a blindfold on, trying to throw a dart at a dartboard, and that's what we're really trying to do. And I think that underscores for me why we are trying to start conservatively, but leave ourselves, and that, again, that's the beauty of the statute we were given, is leave ourselves the flexibility to respond as quickly as we can. It's why you repeatedly see a director's discretion or a board's discretion in a lot of what we do. And it's our intent to be setting up a monitoring system through our seat of sale, through our ORS database, and through our data collection, where we are going to actively be able to seek how we can respond as we watch patient enrollment, as we watch prices, that sort of thing. To us, that is the best approach, but we are always open to suggestion.
It's nice to hear that you have that concern in your mind and in your work.
I think I speak for the whole team in that, so thank you.
Other thoughts or questions for Missy? Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
That concludes our agenda for today. Before we adjourn, I want to let everybody know that we've tentatively set our next meeting date for March the 16th. So put that on your calendar as a hold. And official acknowledgement of that will be forthcoming in the time going forward. But that's what it's looking like right now. And if there's nothing else for today, I will entertain the motion to adjourn. Second. Okay, we are duly adjourned. Thank you for your time. Travel safely.